Hello and welcome to KennyRoy.com. I'm Kenny Roy, and this is the Ask Video Mail for the week of December 10th, 2012. Welcome to the site to you new members, and welcome back to the old members. The Ask Video Mail, don't forget, is your chance to get your question in character animation or performance answered in a video just like this one, but I need your question if I'm going to answer it. So please send your questions to webmaster@kennyroy.com. I go through all the questions and I answer the ones that I think will help the most people. There's no such thing as a stupid question. Believe me, I would have found it if there was such thing. And you can even send me your Maya files. I love to get a Maya file, open it up, show everybody on camera, and do video mails that way. So don't be shy. Definitely take advantage of it, especially if you are on the free trial. Now, if you are on the free trial, I hope you stick around. I think you'll find that there's a lot of value in this site, and you enjoy yourself as well. And you grow with us, so we can all grow together. Just a little bit of a note. I go through these. It's been longer than 2 years. It's been 26 months since I started the site. I started it right at the tail end of October 2 years ago, and now we're already in December. And I really, I just wanted to say that as having done this for so long and as kind of like a seasoned pro of doing these videos, I wanted to kind of just say to everybody that the amount that you get out of your animation education really, really does come down to how much you immerse yourself in the craft. And that has a lot to do with how much you're critiquing animation. Now, I know that I've said this before, but it really does bear repeating. Critiquing animation is one of the most selfish things you can do. It might seem like, you're just giving away your time for free, or you're just taking taking time out of your really busy day to help somebody else out. But you really should be thinking about critiquing animation as part of your training. Today is a workflow question, and I'm really excited to answer it. But one thing that all of you should be adding to your workflow is a little bit of animation critique every single day. In fact, you should be excited when somebody puts their animation into the forums, because that's an opportunity for you to see unfinished animation and learn a lot from it. Okay? Now, of course, there are a lot of forums like 11-Second Club, CG Talk, that kind of thing, where you can watch unfinished animation as well. But none of those can you establish kind of like a relationship, back and forth with people like you can here in like an intimate setting. So if you don't know this about me, I basically learned everything I knew before I got my first job from one forum, and it was because we're all so tightly knit. So anyway, take advantage of the opportunity that you have when someone is put their stuff up for critique, and do it. Participate in the forums, have a lot of fun, put your stuff up there as well, and just have an awesome time. Okay. So let's take a look at the question. I think you'll agree it's a good one. So, I was asked a long time ago about how to study a shot, and it was one of the first video mails, if I'm not mistaken. It was like in like December or January of 2011. I remember I brought up a shot and I started studying it. But what I like about how this is phrased is that this person asked, what is the workflow for studying a shot? I love that. What is the workflow to study a shot? So it got me thinking, you know what, you can say all the things that you want to get out of a shot when you're studying it, but what is the actual workflow? So it blew my mind. I'm so excited about that. You know how to get your question answered is to ask something about workflow, right? Because I'm like the workflow crazy man, okay? I'll show you what I think a good workflow is to getting the most out of watching a shot, and I'm going to show you using my favorite film, my favorite short film. It's called Prelude to Eden, and Michel Gagne is the creator of this, the director and animator, of course, and he just had a successful Kickstarter project called The Saga of Rex, which you should check out as well. And he's a really awesome, cool guy. So that's another cool thing. Okay, so cool. So let me show you some shots from his film and show you a workflow for getting everything out of it. All right. Okay, so the first thing I like to do is actually you got to watch the shot. Okay. You got to watch the shot because at speed, so that you can get the holistic kind of feeling, the holistic impact, right? And not try to too quickly break it down into different pieces. Okay, so the first piece of workflow, the first step is literally to let a piece of animation, let a shot really grip you and grab you and speak to you, because those will be the ones that you can learn the most from. It's a human process, right? So I remember when I saw this film, one of the shots that really grabbed me was when the make sure you can hear it here. One of the shots that really grabbed me was this one, where he basically reconstructs. Awesome, right? Awesome. Okay. Now, when I first saw that shot, I thought to myself, "Oh my God, that is so incredible!" All right. So that the first step is you need to be drawn to it. Otherwise, it's probably just another shot, okay? Because this is the human process, and there are some shots that are better than others. It's not worth your time to frame through every single shot of a movie, okay? Because animators have enough time, they're given enough time to put a certain amount of effort into one and not as much effort to another, and that's not like bad or sad or like really tragic or anything like that, but this is the way it is. There are more important shots than others, is what I'm trying to say. So the first step is kind of letting that shot speak to you and get you excited, because that's a way that you can identify what shot is worth seeing. Okay, so those of you who get the Blu-ray or whatever and completely frame through the entire film, those of you can stop doing that. That's not worthwhile. It's not worth your time. Okay. And then probably the first thing that you do want to do is you do want to frame through it. But as you're framing through it, you're trying to first identify what made you excited about that shot. For me, when I first saw this shot where he kind of reconstructs and then jumps off the ground, the thing that really grabbed me was the fact that I couldn't tell how he reconstructed him, because at speed it seemed to have a completely different feeling than it growing or building or whatever. And so I went to investigate how this animator did it, and it turns out he just literally just drew a new piece every other frame or so, and that blew my mind. Okay, so let's watch it one more time at speed. Okay. So now let's frame through it. All right, and it cuts right here. A little bit of a jump cut, that's okay. Here we go. Look at that. Just going back and forth a little bit. Okay. Now that blew my mind. Oh my gosh. He just basically drew, like added a new piece every single, every other frame or so. All right. Now let's go back one more time, and you'll also notice that he uses kind of the edge of the spark to kind of reveal the edges too. See how the boots, like the edge of this like spark right here, also again right here, all up in here as well. All right, see it's building. The only place that he kind of doesn't do it is this shoulder pad disappears and comes back. I'm not sure what that if that was a mistake or whatever, but it happens. And then one thing that I thought was really cool was that when his hands finally appear, you've got this like the bleeding edge of this spark, but then what happens is that it almost shoots out. You see, it almost looks like a little bit of an explosion, and especially on this side of the frame, you can see it almost like shoots out. All right. So then, if you've identified the cool thing about that shot, now watch it again at speed to see how that is all working together yet again. With that new piece of knowledge, watch it one more time at speed. Okay? Okay. Then what you do is you take one more close look at that certain thing to see if any of the other fundamentals are being used in a really interesting way that are basically compounding the effect. Because to be totally frank, it's not possible to have a shot that is like a really, like a shining example, like the rubric of success in overlap, and also like is in the dictionary next to squash and stretch, right? It's not possible to have like a shot that it is like should be the put on a pillar and worshipped for its anticipation, and it's also like the best like staged composition that has ever been done. You know what I mean? I mean, that'd be fantastic if all 12 principles were like done the best they've ever been done in a single shot. But it's actually not quite possible. It might be fantastic, and I will totally admit that, like, in most Pixar films, the shots are not approved unless all 12 principles are in there and great. But normally, it's something that you're showing off, and it's something that you're really paying attention to, which is kind of the gag of the shot. And gag doesn't mean like a joke. It means like what this shot is actually kind of like doing to the audience, right? So the gag of this shot is that it's building, and he's tricking us. He's tricking our eye to make it seem like it's building, but he's just drawing one piece at a time. But using that bleeding edge and that little explosion at the end to kind of almost make it like the spark is constructing the robot instead. See what I mean? So since that's the gag, now we go back and see, okay, are there any other really interesting fundamentals that are contributing that he used very well that made that gag even better and more impactful, okay? Because everything should be for greater impact. In the end, everything should only make it in there if the impact is improved, okay? Okay, so let's frame through one more time. Get my annotate ready. Well, obviously this is really beautiful, just artwork here. Starting off with just kind of a little bit off camber, a little tilted composition, and extreme force perspective. But one thing I noticed right off the bat, and this is kind of Michel Gagne's hallmark, is his effects animation, his sparks, his water, his dust, all that stuff. He has an insane control over his line. And even in motion, he gets this gorgeous rhythm in his line, okay? All right, so take a look here. I'm going to draw with yellow. See this, it goes out of a curve into a straight, okay, and this really harsh corner here, and then this really nice curve again, and then a harsh straight, right? He's got just this amazing, like if you follow this, your eye is just taken for a dance, just watching the rhythm of his line. Just absolutely gorgeous, and you could call that silhouette. You could technically refer to the effect that he gives us as the silhouette of this line, but it's just fantastic. Okay, a lot of force as well. See how the form, as it's being built, it almost seems like the pants were put on by this like really hard force, like coming in from both sides here. Okay, I'll frame through again. So he comes around and almost like it like comes around and like plants the top of the legs on top right there. A huge amount of force. And then contrast again. I mean, look at the nice curves and then these really harsh corners. God, he's so fantastic at that. He's just so good at that. And then on the exit of the shot, you've got this really beautiful, effects animation with the smoke here. And then when he blows it away, you have that extreme squash and stretch. That is going to it's almost like contrasting with this slow motion down here, that how fast it goes up. And also, I mean, I don't think you could force perspective really any more than he just did with all of that, don't you think? And one more shot. Same thing when he's grabbed like this. I mean, here's a shot. We'll go through it really quickly. It's grabbed. I mean, how much more can you like really like hold a pose? I mean, than this. I mean, he holds it for like almost like a full second, and it's gorgeous. I love the way that it works, and he's just holding it and holding it and holding it. That moving hold is so beautiful. So at any rate, that would be my process for analyzing a shot, is to really let a shot grab you and then frame through it, but look for that one thing. Answer the question for yourself: why did I get grabbed by that? Why did that speak to me? Okay, answer that question. And then once you have that question, watch it again at speed with that fresh perspective, and then go back in and see. Okay, track the arcs, right? Get a free screen drawing program and track the arcs, right? Look at the squash and stretch. See if the pose, the silhouette, whatever is contributing to that thing that really spoke to you. And chances are you'll find that in the best shots, they all are contributing. All the fundamentals are playing a part somehow, right? None of them are left out. But you'll find out, and in doing this, you'll find a lot of examples of how in your favorite shots they all work together the best. Like, for instance, is extreme overlap, does that play very well with extreme squash and stretch? The answer might be no. It might not actually play very well. Those two things might not be good friends. I found that when people try to do cartoony animation, that they do they really try to push timing, and they do squash and stretch on the full body. Well, squash and stretch on the full body is really breaking physics. Can you break physics with timing being pushed at the same time? Answer is probably no. So you also find those in-between areas. In-betweens, no pun intended. Another thing is that if you watch something like, oh, that's so snappy, right? When you're framing through it, if the snappiness and how like zippy like everything is happening is really speaking to you, then when you're framing through it and you're trying to find that essence, literally count the frames and write it down, and try to add something later. Try to create something later that has that exact same timing. Like oh my gosh, I didn't even think that there was anticipation there, but there's one frame of anticipation, one tiny frame of a tiny bit of anticipation in there. All right, and then 3-frame movement and 2 frames of overshoot, but it's just the tiniest amount of overshoot or follow through, just the tiniest amount. And then like a 10-frame moving hold. Like, and use that. You have that written down. Now that's your formula, okay? But then watch it again for some, with that fresh perspective, and see, okay, how many times is it happening? And then frame through it one more time, looking for the other things that are helping it, right? Like for instance, if someone comes to like a really quick like stop, maybe the spine is overlapped a lot to maybe kind of prepare the eye and make it seem even snappier because it's unraveling across like 2 frames. Or maybe the spine is really stiff instead. So look at those things and try to determine how they're working together and what is working together to actually make the entire impact as strong as it is for you. Okay, cool. And maybe, hopefully, somebody who's watching this and who likes to frame through entire feature films, looking, to become a better animator, maybe you'll stop doing that, because that you can do a lot more. You can learn a lot more from just like diving deep into like a single shot that you really love, than you will just like literally going 1 frame at a time through a film. Okay, great, awesome question. Thank you for sending it in. Please send more questions to webmaster@kennyroy.com. Of course, I answer all the questions I think will help the most people. Send me your Maya file. I love getting Maya files. If you get stuck technically or you just can't figure out what's going on, just send it in. I'll take a look at it. Okay, cool. Well, this was awesome. We are almost at the end of the year. There's going to be no interruption in the videos here on kennyroy.com. Don't worry about that. I'll take care of you. Stay having fun. Stay frosty. Good luck with your animation. And as always, rock on.